All right, guys. Good morning. We are here today. It is Monday. We're starting early. I thought the market might be closed. That might be next week that I'm thinking of, that the market is closed on Thanksgiving Day. But yeah, it is Monday. Let me know if you can hear the music well. Let me know how the stream's coming in. We should be pretty good here, but I don't think we have any like economic reports today. What's up, Blaze, Pawn, Elvin, Radical, Biggie, Martin, Bow, Corey, Keegan. What's up, guys? So yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll let some people get in here first, and then yeah, the big story this week is NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday. We got jobless claims, unemployment filings on Thursday. And then Friday we got some stuff, but it's pretty slow leading up to that point. Yeah, again, I'm just here. Remember, guys, the big reason I'm here this morning, like, you know, I might not even streamed if it didn't come to this, but I'm just here to tell you, I told you so. With Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, like, this was very predictable. And if you genuinely thought Tyson would win, somebody's got some timeshares that they're going to sell you, and you're going to get ripped off because you believe anything. Again, it doesn't matter how much you like Tyson. It doesn't matter how good of a boxer Tyson was. I told you guys what was going to happen. It was very obvious what was going to happen. And, you know, really, I think Jake kind of took it easy on him, number one. I also think they came to like an agreement before the fight that they were going to be easy on each other, number two. But Tyson got pieced up. I mean, this is not a shock. I told you guys way beforehand that this would happen. You're welcome. Very predictable. Tyson was never going to beat Jake Paul. Like, if you really thought Tyson was going to beat Jake Paul, like genuinely, if you really thought that, look up the definition of confirmation bias. All right, you really need to understand psychology a little bit more. Because, man. Yeah, John Jones beat Stipe. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty easy to predict too, man. Honestly, I was disappointed in both fights. People are acting like John Jones looked great. It's like, look, John Jones looked slow to me. He looked slow, he looked boring. Anyways, we got gold moving up. So gold up to 2600s. It's up a little bit this morning. We're looking at Netflix. We can look at the SPY here. We got the Q. SPY's been pulling back for the last week or so. So is the Q. And this leads into NVIDIA earnings this week. NVIDIA earnings are the biggest thing. Yeah, I mean, again, if you really thought Tyson was gonna win, like have some deeper thought, you know. Like, I'm not even, you know, you gotta understand confirmation bias. Like, I want Tyson to win too. I wish he did win, but I was telling everybody beforehand, he was never going to win. You know, Jake Paul's 25 years old, 27 years old. He's a young man. He's on steroids. Like, he was always gonna beat Tyson, and Tyson knew that as well. But Tyson made $25 million from this fight, so, you know, Tyson's not crying alone in his room right now. Tyson just made $25 million from this. He'll be set for life. So I mean, it doesn't matter, but still, the point remains. Let me know if we're lagging at all. We shouldn't be lagging. We should be pretty good. But yeah, I'm just here to tell you I told you so. Very predictable here, guys. Very predictable. Did John already tell if NVIDIA may be on the buy or sell side? Yeah, let's take a look at NVIDIA. The stream's titled for NVIDIA here. I'm not going to say buy or sell. I really don't think anybody knows. I think it depends on what their earnings are going to show up as. Looking at a 15-minute chart, NVIDIA, you know, here's lifetime highs up here at about 150. So we got lifetime highs that are pretty close to us. Those are influencing the market for sure. And whatever NVIDIA does, especially this week, the rest of the market's going to do. And so if you want to know what futures are going to do, of what the NASDAQ is going to do, what the SPY is going to do, just watch NVIDIA closely. You know, we got a couple stories to talk about today. One of them is that Morgan Stanley had a bullish outlook on U.S. stocks. So Morgan Stanley have shifted to a bullish stance on equities, projecting that the S&P could reach $7,400 in 2025. $7,400. Do y'all agree with this? $7,400 prediction for Morgan Stanley on the S&P 500. This optimism is based on expectations of strong earnings growth and accommodative monetary policy. So basically, they think they're going to be loose, less restrictive, more dovish monetary policy wise. The firm anticipates a 13% earnings per share growth in 2025, supported by potential Fed rate cuts. And so Morgan Stanley pivoting to a more bullish stance. Again, they think the S&P is going to hit 7,400 next year. Again, it's based on strong earnings growth and accommodative monetary policy and dovish Fed. We'll see what happens. Obviously dovish means lower rate cuts, or obviously dovish means less restrictive monetary policy, more rate cuts, pushing for lower interest rates, as opposed to hawkish, which means more restrictive monetary policy, trying to bring interest rates up. And so, yeah, that's what we got right now. Let me make sure. Can y'all hear the music? Yeah, you should be able to. Okay, good. Yeah, so some other news. So the stock market experienced decent losses over the past week. The S&P is down 2%, largely due to renewed inflation worries after inflation data came out last week, and different policies from the new president that they're talking about here. So we'll see if that influences things moving forward to this week. Again, the big story this week is NVIDIA earnings. Yeah. Anyways, investors are closely watching for NVIDIA's earnings this week on Wednesday. It's going to be Wednesday after the closing bell. This is the biggest story of the stock market this week by far. Again, NVIDIA earnings this week are going to be the biggest story of the stock market by far. It's expected to provide insights into performance of AI tech stocks. NVIDIA's guidance is going to be one of the most crucial aspects of it, assessing the health of the tech sector, especially given its big role in AI chips. So yeah, we're going to be watching NVIDIA earnings this week. This is the biggest story of the week for sure. So looking at global markets for a second, global markets have shown mixed reactions following the US stock market's downturn. European markets have gone down slightly. Asian markets have displayed varied performances going back and forth, reflecting global investor sentiment influenced by US market trends. Yeah, so the Blackwell chip is going to be something that's in focus regarding NVIDIA earnings. But yeah, market's been down some. If we look at actual futures here, I like to look at actual futures. We could look at the Q. It's pretty much the same thing. But here's the NASDAQ futures. We put an hourly chart up. You'll kind of see the market since November. So here's November's market right here. This is where November started right here. And basically, since November has started, the NASDAQ 100 has gone up pretty significantly and then down pretty significantly, and now we're up slightly relative to the year start, but we're pretty flat overall on an hourly chart. Like, we've gone up and down a bigger range in November, mostly driven by like the election and stuff like that, but like we still got a ways to go. Like, if you look down here, if you if you look down here, we've got choppiness. We're right around where we were. Here's where we started the 20-day chart up, and that's basically where we're at now. So honestly, over the last month straight, we haven't really done much in the NASDAQ. We've gone up big, down big. We've had some volatility from the election, and now we might potentially get some volatility from NVIDIA earnings. But for now, we're just kind of flat over the last month. Do you guys think, are you guys bullish or bearish on NVIDIA earnings? I think that's going to be a good poll we'll do today. Are you guys bullish or bearish on NVIDIA earnings? Again, you can kind of look at NVIDIA right above me now. So you can look at NVIDIA above me and see, like, NVIDIA is influencing the regular market. I can put the same kind of hourly chart up here, and you can see NVIDIA is pretty flat over the last month as well. Here was almost a month ago for NVIDIA, and I can draw a line from where NVIDIA was a month ago, and it leads to just about where we are now. And so NVIDIA not really doing too much either. Over the last month. Again, a big range from the election volatility, but aside from that, it's been pretty boring and slow. We have some levels that I'm specifically paying attention that are close to us on NVIDIA, and we'll also take a look at the NASDAQ and draw some levels on the NASDAQ. We'll take a look at the SPY and draw some levels on the SPY and the S&P futures. So we'll take a look at some of that stuff too. But for now on NVIDIA here, I see 140 being a pretty big milestone level. So we're going to definitely watch 140. I think 150 is like the biggest milestone level we have close to us for NVIDIA. I think 150 is not just the lifetime high right now, or right around the lifetime high. But not just that, it's also like a pretty big milestone level. Like a lot of the time traders look at psychological levels. So they look at like $100, $125, $150, $175, $200. They look at those big psychological levels. And so I think 150 seems to be a pretty big psychological level that also coincides with a lifetime high on Nvidia. So that's what I'm watching there. We still got a little ways away from it, but if we get some volatility from earnings on Nvidia, we could certainly break that if we have bullish reactions to earnings. On the downside for Nvidia here, I think we got to look at this 132 level. It's the low of the last month. We can watch to see if we can hold over or under that. Let me see if it'll let me duplicate it. Yeah, it will. Okay, cool. So yeah, this 132 level down here is the low of the last month. I think it's relevant to pay attention to. So this is kind of the short-term range that I see for this right now. I want to see if we hold over this 132 level, under this 150 level, or if we can break on either side of that. It makes sense. Looking at the NASDAQ here, I think the easiest psychological level that we have underneath us is this right here, this $20,000 level. $20,000 is probably the biggest psychological level we have close to us on the actual NQ NASDAQ futures contract. So I'll make this red. We'll make the width big. So we got to watch that 20K level. And then we're just going to look at the lifetime highs on the NASDAQ above us right here. I think at 21,340, we've got lifetime highs. And we're going to watch this range too. You can kind of see how similar in the NQ and NVIDIA look. We can put them similar to each other. They look pretty similar here. So we'll see if they hold or what. Check back up in the chat. Can you do a poll? Sure. I'm going to say, are you bullish or bearish on NVIDIA earnings this week? Do we have GameStop running? Let me see. I like a good old GameStop run. Let's take a look at GameStop here. GameStop dipped down a little bit. I mean, I'm optimistic for it. I want to see it happen. So we asked people, are you bullish or bearish on NVIDIA this week? Supermicro could be a big one. I mean, it has been a big one, but not in a good way. It's up a little bit this morning, though. It kind of needed this run. So let's take a look at Supermicro semiconductors. You know, they had a hard time finding an auditor. Did they ever end up doing it? I know they're. I know Supermicro. They had a deadline. Wasn't it pretty soon? Somebody answer me in chat here. So didn't Supermicro have a deadline to find an auditor? I'm wondering if that deadline has passed without them being able to find one. So Bitcoin consolidating over 100K. What do you think next about crypto? NVIDIA hasn't announced any delays. So 70% so far on this vote after we got over 30 votes in about 30 seconds. Now we got almost 40 votes. 70% are bullish, 30% are bearish. Vote on the poll if you want to know. From what I remember, NVIDIA last earnings was good, but investors weren't impressed. Stock didn't move much. Yeah, I mean, so NVIDIA earnings lately have been like the Super Bowl of markets, right? Like one of my largest streams, my second largest stream of all time was an NVIDIA earnings stream. We got 14,000 concurrent viewers watching it. It was chaos. You know, what you see, a lot of people start to cover the same stuff I'm covering now, which, you know, we're trendsetters over here. But that's all right. But yeah, NVIDIA earnings are going to be ridiculously big, and they're relevant to pay attention to. If we look at what they're expecting for earnings here, right? So NVIDIA drops earnings Wednesday. NVIDIA is expecting. We also have on Wednesday morning we have NEO, we have Target. So two pretty big reports, but NVIDIA is expecting 74 cents in profit per share on 33 billion in revenue. 81% revenue growth. If I look at macro trends for NVIDIA, Yeah, like here's Nvidia's trends for EPS. EPS is earnings per share. You can kind of see they've done really well. This next one they're expecting, what was it, 74 cents. So the last time was 67. So they are expecting a bump up on this as well here. So they are expecting it to look something like, so we got 60. Yeah, they're expecting the next one to come in up here, right? So, I mean, a pretty parabolic looking, not parabolic, but a pretty strong looking growth graph. If they come in as expected, the next bar will be right around there. Because again, we got 60, 67. Next bar will be right around here. So that's a strong graph here. Their revenue is increasing dramatically too. Let's take a look. You know, people talk about how extended Nvidia is all the time. They say, oh, Nvidia's extended, Nvidia's extended. The problem that I have with people saying that is that when you look at Nvidia, right, their revenue has grown with stock price. You know, so it's not like the price is up some crazy level, but revenue and EPS hasn't grown either. Like margins haven't gotten better, revenue hasn't increased. Of course they have, right? So now they're expecting 33 billion. Last time they showed 30 billion. So I mean, you can see the revenue increase since AI, and so people act like Nvidia is just up for no reason. No, it's a scam, they say. But their revenue is skyrocketed. Their earnings per share have skyrocketed. It's something in which Nvidia is doing incredibly well business-wise, and that's the reason their stock is performing so well over the last 4 years. And so it's important for people to understand, like you might hear bearish traders that essentially were shorting the market, telling you that Nvidia shouldn't be up and that, you know, it's a scam or whatever it is. Most of the time they're just mad about losing. In the end, the margins for Nvidia as well as the revenue for Nvidia somewhat justify these big increases. Now, is it a perfect correlation? No, but it's similar. So yeah, pretty good numbers there. So again, they're expecting an increase in EPS, which is margins and revenue. Yeah, you're Sam Polaris. All right, guys. Jensen doesn't know what to do with all the money. Yeah. Doesn't mean you need to overpay. Well, I mean, it's not about overpaying is subjective. I think long term it's going to go up no matter what. And I think if you're so worried about finding corrections on the downside, you know, I just think you have to understand most of the time we're going to get long term action in the stock market. And so if you bet against that long term because you're so worried about things being extended, then you're going to miss out. Like the real way you get past it, if you really think Nvidia is extended, what you should do is just DC. I'm not telling you what to do, not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. You know, always make your own assessment, trade responsibly. I might have no idea what I'm talking about and be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say here. Do not copy me. Not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose money. I do trade off stream. You're not going to see all my trades, all that good stuff. But with that said, dollar cost averaging is your friend, I think, with blue chips. You know, again, it's what I like. I've been teaching my wife about finance. You know, because she's got some other people who want to like she's got a little bit of like retirement money that she wants to trade, or she wants to do some stuff with. And I told her, like, what you do with it is you just buy index funds. You can do a couple different things. You can buy straight index funds, which are probably going to outperform a lot of other portfolios. Just buying the S&P or buying the NASDAQ if you want a little bit more tech-based index fund. You can just straight up buy those. Now, you can't buy them directly, but you can buy like ETFs that follow them. That's one thing. The other thing you could do is you could buy a mix of index funds and like a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver, a little bit of crypto, right? Like that might earn less short term, but have more potential, if that makes sense, right? Throw some real estate investment trusts in there to diversify, I think, and that would be a good portfolio. Or the more gambly way, to be honest, is to buy individual companies, buy individual stocks, try to handpick the best companies or whatever. And you know, it's much less passive. You're going to have to watch them a lot more. You're going to have to be a lot more careful with how you do things in that type of portfolio. But you can also make some good returns too. You just have to really know what you're doing. But for my wife's instance, I told her, look, you just probably want to buy index funds. Buy index funds. If you really want to diversify, you can buy like index funds, a little bit of crypto, a little bit of gold and silver, real estate investment trust to get exposure to real estate, and then just kind of sit on it long term, never touch it. You know, once people start trying to earn too much income from their money, where an example of this is people that take on these super high yielding dividend assets, the risk just goes higher and higher and higher, and it's not something that most people want to do, especially if it's just like a retirement account or an investment account, in my opinion, right? But again, not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. After you got 50 billion, you're not going to notice any difference. Well, yeah, billion's different. You know, there's very little difference between like 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200 billion. In terms of quality of life, you're going to be able to buy whatever the heck you want with 1 billion, let alone, you know, 50, 100, 200. But millions, there's a big difference. Yeah, we trade the NASDAQ. Just buy Mag 7 stocks? Maybe. Yeah, again, the good thing about the NASDAQ is that it diversifies into all of them. Because there's times when the NASDAQ and the Mag 7 stocks aren't doing like really what you want. And sometimes they get swapped out and everything like that. So it depends, right? It really depends on the time. Elon just posted a picture of UFOs. I don't know if it's UFOs or if it's like supposed to be a futuristic city. It's hard to tell. What's up, South? Yeah, man, doing good. Thing is, if there's any great technology which comes up, they can buy them out or hire people to build it into their systems. What do you mean? Who? Mag 7? Yeah, I mean, you could diversify into them, and that's great. But there's a little bit more risk. I'm a big believer in diversification. And so when stuff is up big, sometimes it will correct. It just depends. I'm a big believer in diversification and just DCAing. I'm okay. Like, if you know what you're doing, like if I had I have my own portfolios and I do buy individual stocks, right? Like I do buy stocks like that, but I have watched the stock market for almost a decade now, every freaking day, right? So I understand the stock market a little bit more than the average person that has a retirement account. And again, the problem with stocks is that people rush to be experts in it. You know, I'm certainly not an expert, you know, even though I've watched it a lot. The problem, one thing you see in stocks is that people rush to be experts, especially it happens the most, I would say, with young people. Like young people, they recognize business opportunities, and so they act like they're better than they are. They know more than they do, and they really rush to be considered experts. You know, you got 16-year-olds with braces trying to act like they're stock market experts, and of course they're not. But you know, and sometimes a funny thing that happens with people is that, like, if you relate to somebody more, you're more likely to believe them. And so young people end up believing them, even though like they're just kind of ripping people off. You just have to understand, it's not something you should rush to do. I'm a believer in market. Not shorting Tesla. It depends on how you're looking at Tesla. I think Tesla will probably be fine long term. John Jones versus Aspinall. Yeah, man, I hope it happens, but who freaking knows, man. I'm disappointed in John Jones for sure. Everybody knows John would just tackle Pereira and submit him in 30 seconds. Like, it's not even like a good fight. Nobody's asking for it. Nobody really wants to see it. I actually think Tom Aspinall versus John Jones would do bigger numbers than Pereira because everybody kind of knows the outcome of Pereira. Pereira's smaller. Aspinall is no joke, and John doesn't want any of that, and that's the problem, you know. And I think John is the greatest like MMA fighter of all time, probably, but he's hurting his legacy now. Why does it say save is halted for trading the stock? Only moved 3 cents pre-market. Is it halted or is it just not moving? There's a difference. So save is Spirit Airlines. Yeah, it looks like it's just not moving. Yeah, so this isn't halted. Or actually it might be. Let me see. It looks like it's probably just not moving. But it hasn't actually had a little candle. So you might be right. Let me look this up. So I'm gonna look up the current halt codes right now. So right now, halted stocks this morning: Blue Jay Diagnostics, MSP Recovery, MSCX, MSST, UPC Universe, Clean Spark, Gene. Yeah, I don't see Spirit anywhere. Yeah, I don't see Spirit anywhere. The last time Spirit Airlines was halted was from a volatility halt back on the 13th. So last week, probably in this craziness for Spirit. If we put up like a 15-minute chart, so this is the last time Spirit was halted. It's not halted anymore. You can actually see it bump up a little bit. It's just not moving at all right now. Yeah, it's just not moving. Like, it's up a little bit. You can kind of see it. It's just slow. No volume, no liquidity. Is it halted? I don't see it being halted, but I might be wrong. Let me look it up. I know they filed for bankruptcy. Okay, so yeah, you're correct. So they filed for bankruptcy. So it says that, and I'm quoting one of these sources here. It says, quote, "The pioneer of no frills travel in the U.S. has been struggling with a long run of quarterly losses and big debt. The airline's sadness is deepened after the collapse of its $3.8 billion planned merger with JetBlue Airways in January, and the impact of RTX's Pratt & Whitney geared turbofan engine snag that grounded many of its aircrafts." So yeah, bankruptcy. It's Chapter 11 bankruptcy, guys. So if you want to know the difference, Chapter 11 specifically is a reorganizational filing, right? So there's multiple different types of bankruptcy. I think a lot of the time people hear bankruptcy and they immediately assume the business is shutting down. That's not true. In this specific instance, actually, it's Chapter 11, which is a restructuring or reorganizational bankruptcy filing. So what it essentially means is that they're going to restructure their business. They're going to try to fix the broken things, and that they're going to be coming back. So it's not like they're just shutting down, is what this means. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, I don't see it popped up in the halt codes though. So, but you can usually see it through the level 2, and yeah, so per the level 2, it's halted. There's no movement. So, yep. All right, guys, we are going to be trading today. So we are going to be trading on Top Step X. We've had some back and forth lately in our accounts, but so here's the NASDAQ. Again, NASDAQ's down a significant amount. I'm just wondering what kind of volatility we're going to get from NVIDIA earnings. NVIDIA earnings are the one that you want to usually pay attention to. NVIDIA earnings are big, important. Stop trolling me when I say Bitcoin is a bubble right now. You should say maybe, not laugh at me. Thanks, John. You're the best. You're welcome, man. You going all in on Peloton? No, I'm good, man. Thank you for your YouTube contribution. Hey, you're welcome. I'm here. Yeah, but I mean, a friendly troll, like he, like, again, Bow, that shouldn't bug you. I'm looking at what he said. You know, you got to be more resilient to that than that, man. You know, him saying, "Oh, a bubble," quote unquote, is not him. Like, you know, you'll be all right, I guess. Have some thicker skin. I feel like the Nasdaq is trying to, maybe. Yeah, Blackwell overheating. Nvidia will rock the market. Is the Blackwell chip overheating, really? Yeah, Nvidia coming down though. Look at this. So Nvidia falling this morning, dragging the market down with it. I'm gonna see if I can get a, you know, some trades to get involved here. I'm gonna trade the micro Nasdaq here. But look at this low of the day break. I was gonna short, but I think I'm a little late on my short. Hi, I don't comment a lot, but just want to say thanks for what you do, man. I watch your channel and work at the same time. Hey, thanks, Stefan. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the support, brother. All right. So we're already down too much for me to really feel comfortable shorting it, in all honesty. But if Nvidia starts to really like flush, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. So if Nvidia starts to dump like quickly, maybe we'll want to short. It just depends on if we get something good, if we get the momentum that we need from this. All right, so look at Nvidia flush. Maybe I should have, look, so there's the big dump. Look at that dump on Nvidia, and then look at the Nasdaq fall down. So maybe I should have jumped in it, but it's all right. It's all good. Not the chip, the server rack. They go in apparently. Okay, gotcha. We're gonna get a little bit more insight into this. So Nvidia's latest Blackwell chips are encountering big overheating issues. Yeah, I'm reading this. When deployed in server racks designed to house up to 72 units, this problem has led NVIDIA to request multiple redesigns of the racks from suppliers to address the thermal challenges. The overheating concerns have raised apprehensions among customers about potential delays in setting up the new data centers. Despite this, NVIDIA maintains that such engineering iterations are standard practice. A company spokesperson stated, quote, NVIDIA is working with leading cloud service providers as an integral part of our engineering team and process. The engineering iterations are normal and expected, end quote. And that's according to Reuters. Reuters is the one reporting this. They said, quote, they said the Blackwell chips introduced in March feature an advanced design that combined two large silicon squares into a single faster component initially slated for shipment in the second quarter. These chips have experienced significant delays, potentially affecting major customers like Meta, Google, and Microsoft, according to Reuters. In response to the overheating issues, NVIDIA is exploring innovative cooling solutions for its GB200 server racks, which will utilize these same Blackwell chips. This includes liquid cooling systems that circulate liquid through pipes and potentially immerse computers in non-conductive liquids to manage this heat. It aims to enhance cooling efficiency, especially for demand for AI application. Overheating problems have also impacted their stock following reports of this issue. NVIDIA shares fell 2.5% in pre-market, reflecting investor concerns over the potential delays in the ability to meet the high demand for its AI. So we'll see. When did this news come out? Was this morning? It looks like it. Yeah, so this news came out basically like yesterday, but it's definitely impacting them this morning. Biggest stream ever coming Wednesday. I'm going to put it out there, our largest stream of all time ever. Peloton. Peloton's been moving up a little bit, but it's still something like Peloton. My time to short it, if I was going to short it, is over. You know, the problem with Peloton is that it got too big too fast during the pandemic. You know, it started creating things that nobody wanted and wasting money, burning money. And, you know, they were super extended in price. They were super high in price where they never should have been, and so that was the time to short them. At this point in time, they're $7 a share for Peloton, so they've come back down to a reasonable level, and maybe they come back now. But again, my time to short them is over. Yeah, so I should have shorted here. You know, again, when I brought up all this news and a potential short in the Nasdaq based off of Nvidia stuff, Nasdaq was here. I should have jumped in short, but that's okay. Still early in pre-market, so we got to just kind of be patient. We got an hour and 15 minutes before the market opens. Technically, that's on the companies who provide and build the server racks, and the companies responsible for liquid cooling. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I think if you want a big, powerful chip, you got to build the infrastructure around it to support it. And I think that's kind of, even though sure you could say it's the other people's problem, but I think it's Nvidia's problem too. Yeah. Nothing but good news until the week of earnings. Coincidence? Just FUD? Maybe. Peloton is good to buy today and hold for long term. I don't know. I like Peloton, but I'm not telling you to buy it. I have no freaking idea what it does. Peloton's also up huge short term. Like Peloton over the last like month or two has gone up dramatic amounts. Peloton, if we take a look at it here, has risen crazy amounts, to be honest. Look at Nvidia fall down though. Yeah, so look, here's Peloton, but this doesn't show it justice. Look, here's an hourly chart for Peloton. Even more so than that, we put a yearly chart up. Look at a yearly chart for Peloton. Peloton's crazy in terms of movement. This thing has gone like obscene amounts, like freaking crazy high amounts. So yeah, Peloton has just done some crazy stuff. All right, so here's Nvidia fighting its way back some here. Roblox. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, so we do have some increases here and everything like that. We're gonna see if we can day trade it. We got to bounce back. I think Nvidia's already corrected some, but if we dip a little bit more, we'll actually buy this up. So far, we have a downward trend, but we've got a lot of room to the 200 EMA, and so I don't really mind this until if we can. Right, so we're gonna buy in there. We're trying to take larger size too. And we are trading futures right now, guys. We are trading the futures market. There's no PDT in futures. You can day trade short, buy market, sell market. Very similar to day trading stocks. No PDT rule. I can day trade the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Dow, the Russell, gold. If I day trade index funds, the patterns are super cheap, super similar to blue chip stocks, stock day trading patterns. But again, there's no PDT restrictions, so I can day trade short, buy market, sell market. Very similar to day trading stocks with just less risk. Is the Nasdaq gonna crack lows again? Again, I'm gonna add to this, take 6 contracts, which is what I want in the first place, to see if we bounce at these lows. I just want to see if we retrace back up. I don't mind playing with this, but I don't want to hold it through like a big low of the day crack either. Yeah, there's a big rebound back up. There we go. I'm gonna limit my size here just because I needed to. So I think that was probably a good move, taking at least half the position off there, limiting my size. A lot of the time you get low of the day breaks and fake outs, and so I'd rather get out of that like flat. We lost a small amount of money there versus what it could be, and then we'll hold our 3 contracts and let it work a little bit longer. This is Top Step X. So again, if you want to check out Top Step, there's no PDT in futures. You can day trade short, buy market, sell market. Again, it's very similar to day trading stocks. Again, though, remember, they're an affiliate or sponsor of mine. I'm biased. because, you know, I get paid by them, but honestly, they're genuinely something I wish I had. Most day traders lose, and so, yeah, we got to cut that now. We ended up losing like 60 bucks, 70 bucks. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, most day traders lose, and so if you try to day trade yourself, you're probably going to lose, and so it makes no sense to fund your own day trading account, especially in stocks, because almost all stock traders day trading lose money. Instead, try futures. In the futures market, you can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell, gold. Some currencies, patterns are super similar to blue chip stock patterns, but there's no PDT restrictions. And so it's genuinely powerful. You can get your day trading in without needing so much money, like $30,000 account to get around the PDT rule. Yet, Top Step gives you a demo. They test your skill with a demo first. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. In this case, it's 49 bucks for the base one, and they paid out over 100 million. I'll put this link up here. Great way to help support the channel. And we'll get this out the way. Wait. There we go. Yeah, so we just kind of keeping breaking down here. Honestly, this is looking much weaker than like Nvidia. So look at Nvidia come down. Let's put the NASDAQ up here. Look at this. So the NASDAQ is really flushing down. And honestly, at this point in time, it's not just Nvidia, right? This is Apple falling down some. Amazon falling down a little bit. Meta's cracking lows of the day. So Meta's breaking lows right now, pre-market lows. So, yeah, kind of a tough time in markets right now, chat. Look at the NASDAQ crack under 2050s. So a big psychological level just broke down here. We'll put Top Step X up so we can watch it. But look at the NASDAQ break under 2050s here. Weak. Crash is on. Every major economic report, earnings report, everything like that, somebody says that crash is going to happen. Very rarely does it actually happen. Again, the thing about it is, so Meta broke lows. Google's still technically green on the day. Apple's pulling back. Microsoft also cracked lows of pre-market, or at least getting pretty close to it. Yeah. Yeah, we did get a big dip, but it doesn't mean too much yet. Not too much yet. All right, so we had Canadian housing starts come out. So the ECB's Stornara says a 25 basis point ECB rate cut by the end of the year is reasonable. So we have some MicroStrategy news. MicroStrategy, MSTR, acquired around 52,000 Bitcoin for 4.6 billion in cash. You can see that news there from MicroStrategy. Interesting. I think Supermicro Semiconductors will go back to its price later. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I'm gonna buy this dip up now. We've already dropped a lot, and so we're gonna see if we can scalp a little bit from this position here. Maybe get into 4 or 5. We've been trying to take larger positions, is what we've been trying to do. But I think we have to take 2 contracts here and maybe just let this work some. So I don't think we should sell immediately. I think we should let this work. See if we start to turn around. NVIDIA could also crack lows, so we're going to use that as like an exit signal here if NVIDIA breaks those. Do not copy me. Again, not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose. Right now we're slightly green. Again, I'm going to try to let this work. See if we get at least a couple. Might add to it too. We'll wait. Yeah, Wednesday, NVIDIA earnings are crazy. Those are big. All right, so we're up a little bit now, but we need more. Can Everybody type in their stock plays today. What are you guys looking at? What stocks are you looking at this morning? All right, there we go. We're gonna take half of this off, lock a little piece in at least, and then we can hold one contract and let the rest work. Yeah, I agree, Sam. You know, I agree. Nah, I hope Bitcoin under 85,000. We'll see. All right, so we did get a nice little bounce back here. I'm gonna go ahead and lock that in and just get a couple green trades in. We made over $20, so we'll take a small little gain. Close to flat. Shopify. Supermicro's up a little bit this morning here, so if we take a look at like Supermicro now, Supermicro's at 21,000, so it's up a little bit. Supermicro's had a tough time. I'm curious. Let me see if I can use AI. What was the deadline for Supermicro Semiconductors to fund an auditor for their books? Supermicro faced a critical deadline of November 16th to submit a plan. This urgency was heightened. They were unable to file its overdue annual report for the fiscal year ending in June 30th, 2024, and its quarterly report for September 30th. The absence of these filings placed them at risk of delisting from the the NASDAQ exchange. As of November 18th, they had not announced this appointment of a new auditor, leaving its compliance status and listing on the NASDAQ uncertain. So far they haven't found somebody, which is bad. Not good, of course, not good. Look at this news right here. I love it when people get scared of any big stocks. Yeah, I mean, the problem that a lot of people face here, chat. So like if we look at Nvidia here, right? So if we look at Nvidia, you know, you got to understand, right? If we look at Nvidia here, you got to understand. People have been saying Nvidia's weak for freaking years now. And again, the problem is that bearish traders miss out on stuff, and so they end up crying to everybody else about it. So again, when the stock market was doing this, right? So we had this big run here. The stock market dipped a little bit. Everybody cried, or not everybody. A lot of people cried and said we were going to crash and we were going to crash and burn. I remember people telling me, somebody told me that the SPY. And I remember doing the math at the time and realizing that like they thought the SPY was going to go under $100, and just telling them that they were crazy. Like, I don't know what drives people to have these ridiculous predictions. You see it a lot with rate decisions as well, right? With rate decisions, people bet on these outlandish things that's never going to freaking happen. Like this last one last week, I told people exactly what was going to happen for the FOMC meeting. Like, look, we're going to cut 25 basis points. But for whatever reason, people make these outlandish bets. And the same thing with the SPY. When right here, everybody was telling me that the stock market was going to crash here. And again, a lot of big YouTubers were telling you the market was going to crash here. If you look back at what I was saying, I was absolutely right. And again, you can kind of look at Nvidia. Nvidia is what helped the market make these moves. But the problem is that people talk about Nvidia being weak here. They talk about Nvidia being weak here. They talk about Nvidia being weak here. And so at a certain point, we're up so much now. We're up so much. The only thing that's really going to drive the market down is Nvidia's correcting. If Nvidia corrects some, sure. But that's a big if. And I'm not going to say anything is outside the realm of possibility, because anything's possible in stocks and markets. But it's something that at a certain point with any stock, you should jump on board and say, if I can't beat them, join them. You know, I'm not telling you to buy anything, but betting against the strongest companies in the world is a silly bet. And it's not something that you should do. I get it. People want to be contrarians. I get it. People want to, you know, they idolize Michael Burry. They watch The Big Short and they want to mimic that behavior, right? But you're betting against the biggest statistical edge you ever get. And so it's just a dumb bet at a certain point. And it's a bet that comes from a lack of understanding about the long-term statistics behind stocks, prices, all that stuff. So just be smart, guys. Like, I'm not saying you can't short Nvidia or you can't short Apple or Amazon or whatever big blue chip company you want to short. You should never hold it that long, though. If you're going to short it, you make your bet. And if you're wrong, you recognize it and you get out. Because if you sit on and hold a short position, the longer you hold it, the worse it gets. You know. At some point, this market is going to pull back. It's way overbought. Yeah, but people have been saying that for years, Ty, and it doesn't mean it is, right? Like, you got to understand, a lot of people are going to consider us. I talked about, I think we might have a red year coming up in 2025, in my opinion. I think we could. We might not. I understand there's variance, and nobody freaking knows. But I think if we zoom out of markets and look at like a long-term markets chart, right? Like, a lot of people are going to say we're coming out of the 2020 crash. We had this crash in 2022. You know, a lot of people are going to say we're just coming out of this, right? And so we kind of recently broke over those highs, and now we're up a little bit. And so it's certainly, there's certainly variance behind the outcome here. It's not like it's going to be one specific outcome, and it's not super predictable either. The only reason I'm saying I think we might have a red year next year is just because we've been going up for so many years in a row. But it doesn't mean that's going to happen either. I just think the market's very balanced. A lot of it is about balance, and I think if we go up 50% in 2 years, you know, in general, like, the market's balanced, we might correct some next year, but it doesn't have to be a big correction. We just kind of got to bring ourselves back to earth a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's pulling back right now, not in any major way though. Like, the pullbacks we've seen so far are nothing, right? Like, if we put a monthly chart up, it doesn't even show anything. You know, you put a daily chart up, you know, we got a little bit of a pullback, but when you zoom out, it's pretty insignificant. Like, we're not going to go straight up. At least not. Like, here's the Nasdaq, here's the QQQ, here's the SPY. You know, we've been in the same trend for freaking years now. Yeah, the NVIDIA report's massive, though. Massive. Hey, thanks so much, guys. I see we got 500 people plus here. So I'm going to put it in sub-only mode. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We do. Oh, we're already in sub-only mode. For whatever reason, it's automatically starting the stream in sub-only mode. So maybe that's helping. Help me hit 150K. I think if we get a good NVIDIA earnings stream, we're going to break 150K this week. I think we will. I'm hoping we do. But yeah, the big news is the chip disaster that we got going on right now for NVIDIA. Again, just to repeat this news for NVIDIA Blackwell chips. So the news that we got going out today that dragged NVIDIA back down is that the Blackwell AI chips are encountering significant heating issues when deployed in server racks designed up to house up to 7 units. It has led NVIDIA to request a lot of different redesigns from the suppliers of these racks to address these thermal issues. The overheating concerns have raised apprehension among customers about delays in setting up the new data centers and stuff like that. So that is what is dragging NVIDIA down big today. Like, that is why NVIDIA is down big. Yeah. So bounce it back a little bit here though. It's doing something. NVIDIA earnings this Wednesday. Yeah, so again, this is all leading into NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday, which is kind of like the Super Bowl of stocks. This is something that has wildly affected everything and anything. So yeah, the last NVIDIA earnings stream, we got like 10,000 concurrent viewers or something like that. It was really hot. The craziest earnings stream for NVIDIA was really like a year ago. So a year ago, we had 14,000 concurrent viewers for NVIDIA. So, you know, it's lost a little bit of hype as people have gotten used to the earnings reports, but yeah, inverted head and shoulders. And Oh wait, I'm off the screen a little bit. We have this. What's up, guys? Or did you mean an inverted head and shoulders pattern? Alright, let me fix myself there. There you go. John, I just want to say you're a good man. Oh, well, thank you, sir. Do a barrel roll. It's too slow. I could do one, but it's too slow. Let me get back over here. All right, there we go. What's up, 7? Hola. Winston throws for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, don't even talk to me about the Saints, bro. I don't even want to hear it, dude. I don't even want to hear it. We had so much hope to begin the year, you know? They even gave Spencer Rattler, or whatever his name is, a chance. Like, honestly, the Saints need to pick a better quarterback, bro. Honestly, they should let Tyson Hill try. Like, Tyson Hill did good, bro. I don't know why they don't, like, you know... Like, the Saints still have just never gotten better from Breeze. Derek Carr, he hasn't really done that good on any team he's been on. Like, let's just be real here. So, like, being optimistic about Derek Carr, I don't know, man. Just, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about LSU either. We lost to Florida. The Saints won, but we're 4-7. You know, we're playing the Browns. I don't really care about that. I don't even want to talk about the Saints. We're not doing anything this year. Taysom Hill should have been playing, though. Like, the fact that, like, they just don't give him a shot. I don't know. They must... I don't know. Rattler's too small. I mean, he's only 6 foot, which is kind of small. Like, he needs to be a little bit bigger. But he's all right. I mean, I'm not mad at him, you know. Give him a shot. It's not like he's not going to... He has a chance. He's got a chance. All right, so we're up there here. I'm going to short this now. Small contract. 1. We'll add maybe 2 to 3 in here. There's 2. We'll add 1 more, but we're going to be strategic with it. Small plays here leading into the opening bell. We got less than an hour before the open. Yeah, so GameStop appoints Nat Turner to the board of directors. Again, Spear bankruptcy is now halted on a Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. Supermicro Semiconductors is going to file plan on Monday to remain listed on the NASDAQ, according to a report. So again, Supermicro Semiconductors said that they were going to file a plan today to remain listed on the NASDAQ. We'll see if that happens. All right, we're in 1 contract short of the NASDAQ here. Breeze was small. Yeah, but Breeze, yeah, I don't know. Carr was a better move than Lamar Jackson? No, he was not, bro. Bro, give me Lamar all day over Derek. Because at least Lamar's fun to watch. Alright, so we're going to add our 1 more position here to this. And then we'll just sit on this and wait. All right, looking at our poll, we asked people, will Nvidia beat or will Nvidia, are you bullish or bearish on Nvidia earnings? 68% are still bullish, 32% are bearish. It's almost 500 votes too. So again, we'll see. But I am trading futures right now, guys. Trading futures on Top Step X. Top Step X, they give you a demo, they test your skill with it. This is a 50K funded account. So this is my funded account there. If you pass their test, they'll fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. In this case, the base one's $49. If you pass it, you get 50K in funding, 90% split, and they pay out millions. They paid out over 100 million in the last few years. They fund thousands of traders, pay out millions a month. The most legit in the world. Again, they're an affiliate of mine though, so I'm biased, but genuinely a good company to learn how to day trade. Most day traders lose. Everybody thinks they're going to be different. They're going to be an outlier. Almost all day traders lose. It's a lot cheaper to lose here than it is to put up the money yourself and fund your own account and probably lose that. If you want to check it out, there's the link. And again, guys, I'm just here to say I told you so about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. I'm just here to say I told you so. You know, super predictable. If you really thought Tyson was going to win, you know, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to take half of this off, just lock it in, take our little loss there, and let the last two contracts sit. See if we can break down some more here. You can't call me Jimothy. I was right. I was right. I told you guys exactly what was going to happen. I told you guys there were two possible outcomes of Jake Paul versus Tyson. Two specific outcomes here. Super predictable, two specific outcomes. The first was that Jake goes out there and just beats up Tyson, right? The second is that they came to an agreement behind closed doors, basically stating that they were going to just be easy with each other and just kind of spar with each other. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened too, right? But kind of both of them happened. Yeah, the good news is that Tyson earned a big check. And so I'm happy for Tyson, I really am. Yeah, we're kind of choppy today though. Like, I'm trying to short and bet on this direction, but the market just kind of keeps going against me. It's a small trade though. And we're going to trade larger at the opening bell. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to cut this. We let it go long enough. We are gonna be doing a day trading stream today too. Alright guys, so we are going to be doing a day trading show a little bit later. Yeah, the big story again this week, NVIDIA earnings. Craziest story this week for sure. Without question, the craziest story this week. NVIDIA earnings are on Wednesday afternoon. They're expecting another increase in EPS, another increase in revenue here. So, yeah, it's honestly a huge thing. So we're right at that 200 EMA now. We've taken some size here today, but I think I have to just wait until the opening bell at this point in time. You know, I really do. I think I just got to wait till the opening bell. I don't think it's worth it to try to day trade right now. We might trade a little bit closer. But yeah. All right, so we got this big pop up. We're right at the 200 EMA. We got a big rejection candle here. What else do we have? We got the SPY. Again, NVIDIA has rebounded back up. The big news is NVIDIA chips. AI is taking so many jobs. Well, that's kind of how it goes, though, no? I mean, more jobs will be created as well. It just depends on, like, the net gain or loss of jobs. You know what I mean? Yeah, so NVIDIA news shock in the market. It's causing downward pressure on everything. Look at the SPY, though. The SPY honestly rebounded really fast here. So I'm just kind of getting stuck in this chop. I can't even get too upset about it. Yeah, I'm looking at everything here. So NVIDIA down because of Blackwell news. Yeah, for sure. Again, overheating news, and the market's honestly been bouncing back pretty quickly, though. Supermicro Semiconductor said that they're going to release a plan this morning. I just don't get what pattern you were seeing when you entered a short on that chart. So I usually look at the 200 exponential right here in the volume weighted average price. The pattern I was seeing was that NVIDIA, the NASDAQ, everything else like that has been in a downward trend, and they were approaching the VWAP and the 200 EMA right here. And so, I mean, and again, like, there's variance for sure. I think it's really easy to wait and see somebody lose and say, oh, well, you should have taken the other direction. But again, I can't really listen to the stream like that. Like, the amount of people that I see here go like this, where the market might be trending one way, and they're like, oh, this is an easy short the market, and I'll go long. And then, even though they were yelling at me to short, the market just kind of keeps churning up, and then they kind of just turn crickets afterwards. And so you might be right in this instance, but looking at it in hindsight and then using that to kind of, you know, say, oh, well, you should have done this, you should have done that. That's something that it just doesn't make sense. In the end, nobody freaking knows what's going to happen. And we did have a pattern. So we had this big breakdown and then this big rebound back up. A lot of the time what you'll see is that the volume weighted average price will reject, so it'll go like this and then continue down. If the VWAP doesn't reject, the 200 EMA usually will too, and especially if they're right around the same spot like this, you have a really nice resistance level. And then the easy part is that if it breaks over it, you know, you might have a trend reversal and you can just kind of get out. But yeah, that's what I was looking at. Inverse chat indicator, yeah. Yeah, I eat too much fried food for me. All right. Like, fried chicken is my favorite. I love fried chicken. I eat way too much of it. I'm a Louisianian, so I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna eat the wrong food sometimes, and that's okay. I think, yeah, for sure. Which are, Happy Monday. What's up, Stons? Oh, man. It's Monday. The only big thing we got going on is NVIDIA earnings. So, like, the rest of the week's pretty slow. Yeah, so, again, good day to you, Strong Eye. I was talking to Pawn, and again, I didn't know whether I should ban him or not, right? But I'm going to ban him because, like, again, I didn't know whether I should or not, right? The problem, though, is that, like, for somebody to look at something with zero variance and act like they know for sure what's going to happen, like, I'll put it this way. Any V-shaped recovery is also like a trend test. And so what I mean by that is, like, not only do you see this here, right? Sometimes it's going to go up right here, and then sometimes it's going to go down, right? To act like it's only going to go up right here and then use that as like a reasonable criticism towards me is just kind of silly. And it shows, honestly, somebody that's new in markets, right? Like acting like something's definitive, like it has to go one way or another, and then criticizing somebody for it going the opposite way that they thought is a rookie trader thing. It really is. And so if I don't ban him now, he's just going to be a problem later. He's going to, you know, any losing trade, he's going to be sitting there like, and that's just too much to deal with when you're running a stream. And so I hope that makes sense, guys. Is it really National Princess Day? Yeah. So good day to you, sir. Well, yeah, I mean, look, like I'm betting on a downward trend here, right? Like I'm betting on a downward trend. So we have this 200 EMA here, and basically we've gone like this. I don't think it's an unreasonable bet, but again, waiting for me to finish a trade and then critiquing it is just a rookie trader thing, man. Regardless of who's right. You could use his idiocy to teach us. Yeah, I mean, look, I'll use it. Nobody freaking knows what's going to happen. Whether the stocks are going to go up, down, or sideways. Nobody knows, right? And so just don't be toxic, guys. Just don't be toxic. Don't be so desperate for validation that like you act toxic in the chat, I guess is what it really is. I should do the Wizard of Oz banishing thing. Yeah. Did I ban Pawn? No, I didn't. Okay, I was gonna say. Yeah, I mean, it's all good. You know, the 200 EMA works pretty well. I love the 200 EMA on a 1 minute chart. You just gotta wait for it. What happened now is like the Blackwell chip dragged the market down with NVIDIA. And then now we're just kind of rebounding back up. But if you look at NVIDIA, which is what the rest of the market's following, like you can kind of see, we got choppiness over the past 30, 45 minutes. Yeah. Don't get banned. Today is Mickey Mouse's birthday. Yeah, for sure. Me too, Ninja. Yeah, we're sitting here tight. We're gonna do our day trading stream soon. The only thing I don't know how to do, I don't know how redirect works on like I don't know how redirect works on OBS. Like usually I could start another stream and get it rolling here. And it might let me do that. Let me see. I gotta just set up redirect here. Hold on. There we go. Let me get this rolling. I'd ban pawn. John, how do I do a trailing stop? Trailing stops are pretty easy, brother. So like a trailing stop is like this, look. So first you set your order. I'll set one micro contract here. All right, and then say I want to set a trailing stop. So I'm shorting right here. Again, same pattern. Look, here's the 200 EMA. This is what I wanted to short into. And honestly, it kind of worked so far. I just was a little bit early. But here's a one contract on the NASDAQ short. I got a trailing stop. And I want to say how many ticks is the trail difference. In this instance, I want to do like 15. Right, and so it would be, if I get stopped out, it's going to be a buy, right? So then I just hit buy, or no, wait, let me cancel the order. Is it, what do I have wrong here? I think maybe 15 ticks is too close. We'll make it 35 ticks. Yeah, all right, so we have it 35 ticks up there, so it's going to follow this down 35 ticks. And it's going to trail it down, if that makes sense. So you can kind of see it now. And so that's how you set it. You set how many ticks of distance you want. In this case, I put 35 ticks. You set the original order, and then you set the trailing stop order afterwards. So first you just buy or sell, market in, market out, and then you change the order type to trailing stop, and you just set the distance away. In this case, it's 35 ticks away from it. I don't need a trailing stop though, so I'm just going to cover this. And we'll wait, but yeah, I hope that makes sense. I usually look at a mix between 1 minute and 5 minute for short-term day trading. If I'm looking at investments, I'll look at like a 30-minute or 15-minute. All right, so we're breaking down a little bit. So again, us shorting at the 200 EMA was absolutely correct, right? At least so far. I'm gonna end up cutting this now. We were just a little bit early. No, I don't want a trailing stop. I'm messing up. There we go. All right, so we ended up getting out, made a little bit of it back. I still think this short wasn't a bad idea. Like, look, here's the 200 exponential, and this is what I was trying to short in originally. I think I just got in a little early for it, but you can kind of see why. So like, here's the 200 exponential. Look at the rejections that you have directly off of it. You know, so you have like movement directly off of it. I tend to do better after the opening bell though. If I get into too many trades in pre-market, I end up messing up and having to fight my way back after the open. All right, so it's now 9 a.m. We got 30 minutes until the opening bell, chat. You can also just click your order on the chart and pull it up. Yeah, so I always like to do it manually like this, but everybody's different. Really, it really is. Everybody's different. I say if someone can't watch the show and comment with consideration, ban them. Yeah, I mean, the trading world, like I said, is filled with a lot of like traders want validation is what it is. So if I think the market's going to go up and they think the market's going to go down, and then the market does go down, right? Like people end up pretty quickly going from new traders to experts in their own mind, right? But it's kind of like poker, and the way you have to look at markets, like the way somebody that really knows it is going to look at it is variance, right? In poker, as an example, you can make the best decisions. You could do everything correctly. You could have pocket aces and get called by 3-7 offsuit and lose, right? But if you make the correct plays, when you zoom out over thousands and thousands of hands, the people who approach the game correctly are going to win, and the people who don't approach it correctly are going to lose. And so trading is very, very similar, where you might do everything right. You might have an edge in one specific setup or strategy or plan or trading type, but sometimes you're just going to be wrong. Sometimes you're going to just make bad trades. I know certainly I make bad trades. Top 3 worst in the world, they say. But the point is, that's everybody. Everybody's going to make good or bad trades sometimes. And especially when you put it on the internet, like, it gets harder, right? For sure, it gets harder. That's why you see, if I'm having a bad day, sometimes you'll see me like start trading off stream a little bit more, because I can think clear. And yeah. Oh, it's definitely Dunning-Kruger, which is, like I said, Freddy Krueger's brother, guys, if you don't know who that is. You know. Should I sell a put on Nvidia? If yes, what strike price? I have no idea about options. Not an options expert for sure. I mean, I know options, but I'm certainly not comfortable enough to tell you what I think is going to happen there. And the other thing to understand, guys, is like when you zoom into markets, right? Short-term markets, genuinely nobody freaking knows, right? Like, you could flip a coin and get it right. If we flip a coin and I say heads and you say tails, and it's tails, right? Does that make you a coin flip expert? Of course not. And so when you really zoom in, nobody knows, and it's just about probabilities. Some situations are going to have better probabilities than others. Some situations are going to have worse than others, but in general, it's about probabilities. It's never definitive, and there's variance with everything. And so it's all about coming up with your own idea, your own trading strategy, your own system. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. You also have to be resilient, and you also have to be able to say, hey, this isn't working. I'm going to pivot to something else. You got to be able to pivot to, which I see a lot of traders struggle with that as well. Don't sell puts unless you want the stock long term. Selling puts would mean you're technically going long. Selling options is risky in that, like, people make money most of the time selling options, and it's kind of like the martingale strategy, where you'll make money most of the time doing it, but if you make some bad bets, when you finally lose, you're gonna lose a lot of money. Like, you might lose everything you have. And so it's something that you really have to know what you're talking about with selling options specifically. Buying options, you know, you got to really define risk. You're risking what you're paying for the option. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, but with selling options, the risk can go high, like super, super high. So you really have to know what you're doing if you're selling them. Yeah, we're watching the 200 EMA, but we're also have like Nvidia rebounding back up. So what's going on right now is Nvidia's bouncing back here. Nvidia's fighting back. Nvidia dipped on the Blackwell chip news, hit the lows, kind of crack lows. And this is why I don't like low of the day shorts, is because look at this low of the day short. This thing literally tapped low of the day and then immediately bounced back. Trapped everybody in there. Make sure we got our redirect set up here. Okay, good. We got our redirect up. Again, we're going to do a day trading show today. Yeah, so we do have NVIDIA earnings. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, and we're going to go to our day trading stream. If it doesn't bring you to the day trading stream for whatever reason, I'll put this link up. You can check it out. Again, if it doesn't bring you to the day trading stream, as soon as we end the stream, it should automatically bring you to the day trading stream. If it doesn't, for whatever reason, guys, if it doesn't for whatever reason, here is the day trading stream link. All right, so here's the day trading stream link. Stick around though. It should immediately bring you there. All right, so here is the day trading stream link right there. All right, so again, as soon as we close this stream, it's immediately gonna bring you there, I think. All right, I think. So bear with me, guys, bear with me. All right.